The range was silent except for the wind pressing across the open training field. Three Marine snipers stood behind their rifles, eyes narrowed through scopes, frustration building with every missed attempt. The target downrange looked simple from a distance, steady, visible, unmoving, yet shot after shot struck just outside the center. The instructors checked the equipment, the wind readings, the optics, everything was correct. Still, the results refused to cooperate. Pride was turning into doubt, and doubt in a sniper's world could feel heavier than the rifle itself. Near the edge of the field stood an older man in plain clothes, watching quietly, no rank visible, no spotlight on him, just calm eyes and steady breathing. The lead instructor finally muttered under his breath, "Step aside, kids." The statement wasn't meant to insult, it was born from impatience. Confidence was slipping. The instructor gestured toward the older veteran. Instead, the veteran stepped forward without hesitation, no dramatic entrance, just quiet movement and deliberate focus. He adjusted the rifle with careful hands, studying the environment rather than the target itself. The trainees watched, curious but skeptical. One whispered, "He hasn't trained with us." Another replied softly, "He looks retired." The veteran heard none of it, or perhaps he did and simply didn't care. He knelt, settled his posture, and closed his eyes for a brief moment, not in prayer, in concentration. The wind was shifting slightly, subtle, almost invisible. Many would have ignored it, but he didn't. The field felt different to him. He understood that distance wasn't the only challenge in precision shooting, it was rhythm, patience, timing. When he finally looked through the scope, his breathing slowed until it matched the natural rise and fall of the earth around him. The younger snipers leaned forward as he prepared to fire. The shot rang out. No celebration followed, only silence. Downrange, the impact marker shifted directly to the center of the target. Perfect. For several seconds, no one spoke. One trainee blinked. Was that luck? The veteran stood slowly and handed the rifle back to the instructor. His expression remained unchanged. The instructor checked the target through binoculars, then lowered them in disbelief. The center hit was clean, measured, undeniable. He turned to the veteran. "How?" The old man looked at the group of Marines, strong, disciplined, dedicated. "You were aiming at the target," he said calmly. "I was aiming at the environment." The words settled into the air. He explained nothing technical, only this, that mastery comes from understanding the space between effort and outcome, from respecting the smallest variables, from patience that refuses to rush. The snipers stood quietly, each reflecting on their own frustration. They had relied heavily on strength and equipment. The veteran had relied on awareness. One trainee finally asked, "Why didn't you speak earlier?" The veteran gave a faint smile, "Because sometimes," he said, "you learn more from missing than from being corrected." There was no arrogance in his voice, only experience. The instructor realized something important in that moment. Leadership wasn't about age or uniform, it was about humility, the willingness to listen, even when pride resisted. The trainees approached the target afterward, studying wind patterns and adjustments with renewed focus. The veteran did not lecture them further, he simply observed, and in that quiet observation, something changed. The younger snipers began discussing technique differently. They asked questions instead of defending mistakes. They listened more carefully to the environment. Their shots improved gradually, not because the veteran had taken over, but because he had reminded them that precision begins with awareness. As the sun lowered toward the horizon, the field no longer felt tense, it felt thoughtful. The veteran prepared to leave without ceremony. One trainee stopped him. "Sir." "Thank you." The old man nodded gently. He hadn't come to prove superiority, he had come to share perspective, and that made all the difference. Greatness is not measured by how loudly you lead, but by how clearly you see. Experience shines brightest when it teaches with patience instead of pride. If this story inspired you, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Cinematic Whispers for more powerful stories about growth, respect, and unexpected wisdom, because sometimes the quietest voices carry the strongest lessons.